Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to go over my development process for this customer service or customer support game. So in my last videos I went through and designed what the first part of the experience is going to look like, and now I'm going to build it out. And then after I build it out, what I'll go ahead and do is do the actual interaction piece of the game where you're interacting with a customer. So, one of the things that I did offline was go through and hook up to the generate random fake information API called UI names. And so, what that does is when you go in and you click the randomize button on the avatar and then on the person's name, you'll get a random avatar and then a name for the person. So I just went ahead and styled this a little bit. I'm going to change this more as I go on and play with it more when I get into development a bit more. So the first thing that I want to do with when I start with development, because I'm going to build this in storyline, is to really look at the elements on my design, and this is why design is important, so that I can plan for what the different interactions are going to look like and what the design's gonna, or what the actual development will take. So some of the things that I look for instance, are the different parts of the UI that remain consistent. So one of the things that remains consistent in this piece is this card here. So you can see this card and then there's several other cards remain consistent. So what I'll plan on doing with that is put that on the slide master. Then another thing that remains consistent across is this where the avatar is going to be. So that's something that I probably won't put on the slide master, and I probably also will probably not put the next back buttons or the main buttons. I'll probably put those on the main slide. So we'll see how that goes because I could change my mind along the way and just see what's going to be easiest. But let's go ahead and I will start working on my development. So when I work in Storyline, I like to start with a Chromeless player, and so that I don't have to set it up, I have it saved here. So I have this website that I created where I have some different components that I use to get started with my storyline development, so I don't have to spend extra time working on it. So for this one, I'll just go ahead and download this file that will help me to get started. And I'll go and find that, my downloads. I'll open this up, and sometimes I'll have this saved already on my desktop or somewhere else, but for now, I'll just download it and access it from here. And this could take a minute to get going. And this is just my prototype, so I'm going to refer to this too. Oh, we have updates. We'll just ignore that for now. So one of the first things that I want to do is probably set the background color. So that's going to be this color here, which I also have saved on the panel here. So it's this one. One of the great things about Adobe XD is I can just right click and then copy that hex code there that I can use. Project's been recovered. Oh, I think this is an old one. So let's say don't save. Let me re-download that really quick. That's so weird. I may just have to delete some stuff out of it. I'm not quite sure why it's showing one of my old projects. Okay, here we go. So that was bizarre. You never know what will happen once you get into developing here. So we've got our framework here to work with. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I want to adjust the background color. So I'm going to go to the player. Because this is consistent throughout, I'll just change it here without using JavaScript or anything. Colors and effects, and then page background. And then I'm just going to set that to that color that I copied. So you can see there we have it here. And you'll notice there's not any kind of frame around this or anything like that. It's going to be completely just purple if we published it right now. And this would be transparent. So I just like it to look really clean like that. And then the next part that we're going to do is work on the slide master. So I'm going to come to the slide master here. And what we'll do is, this is where I start to gather things from Adobe XD. I like the way that this is formatted, how it is right here. So what I'll do is I'll come over and then I'll export this because I don't want to recreate it in Storyline. And I want it for 2 times because I want it to be larger. So I'll just say background rectangle. Just save it to my desktop, which is really messy, but then you want to make sure transparency is 100% on the background there so that you don't have this like white stage. Insert picture, desktop. Got like my vacation pictures there. And then let's put this in here. And so you can see this is rather large, but we'll check out how it's going to look. So what I'll do is close this master view. We want to come to the background here. We'll probably make it smaller because we need that circle avatar to overlap it a little. And I will go ahead and I'm going to go to File, Publish, so we can just see what this looks like. So slow. And then I'm going to publish for web. I just want HTML5. And we'll call it CS game. Documents. Let's check this out. So you can see it takes up a majority of the screen here. So we want to make this quite smaller so you can see what it looks like. And then we want to leave room on the sides for each of the cards. So what I do when I'm working development with this is I just go back and forth between the two. And I don't want to export everything as one image because I'm going to be editing everything and to animate it. So that's why that's important. So let's see. Maybe a little bit bigger. Do 1,000. So that's probably pretty good. Let's check it out. Okay, let's come here. Great. Looks pretty good. Very similar. And I can go ahead and adjust that later if I need to. So this is the great thing about this is it's all set up and ready to go, and I don't have to add the shape on every single slide. It's just there, and we don't have to do anything different. The only thing that we would do is possibly duplicate the slide master to have different iterations of it. Like if we wanted to have a card here and then a card here, or just one with a card. Or we could just use like state changes or something like that with those, but we won't worry about that at the moment. So let's go ahead and focus on just working on the main screen here. So let's see. So we've got let's go back. We've got this little logo here. So let's go ahead and go into XD, and then I'm going to export that to be used as well. I'll come here, export selected, and I'll just say logo. And then I'll also put it, let's see, should I put it somewhere specific? I'll put it on the desktop, but then I'll create a folder later for everything. So what I'll do with this is I'm on the main slide here. So I don't want to do this in the slide master because it's going to be changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this in here. And that's pretty big. So what I'll do is probably take that down to, oh, that's really small. Let's see, 200. And then middle. And now what I might do with this is I may change the background just for now so that I can see the contrast of everything. And I'll bring this all the way up to the top, and I can have it be right against the edge there. Actually, I probably want it down a little bit at least. Okay, so I've got that in there. And then another thing that's important for me is to be able to have this be tabbable for accessibility. So what I'll do here is you can see in the tab order, this is how your screen reader will read everything. You'll have your main picture and then blank picture. So I want to take this one off. So I'll have to go into the slide master and take that one off because I don't need anyone to be able to know that that's there. But we may want to call this logo of map pin with avatar icon inside, or icon of map pin. Ah, went away. So I've got that in there. Save. And then what I'll do for right now is just come in here, and then for the slide master to work on accessibility, you'll right click and you can click on accessibility, and then I can just turn the alt text off on that, so it's basically invisible to a screen reader. So they're only going to be, the screen reader will only read the important pieces of different objects that are on the screen. So next, what I will do is I will work on the text here. So this text is Traveler's Chat Simulator, and it is Harmonia Sans Pro, and the weight is black. And the only thing that's different for Adobe XData's Storyline is in regards to the actual font size, so that's going to be a little bit different. So let's come in here and I will paste this in, and then let's see if I have Harmonia Sans. The black Harmonia Sans. Ugh, I can't remember if I have this installed or not. There it is. And then I'll bump it up to what I think this looks like. And then the other thing is I don't have this color. So what I'll do is come here, same copy, and then I can change the color in here. Ah, okay. There we go. So it's starting to come along and look like this. Now the next piece will be this paragraph text, and this is Harmonia Sans as well, just with some things bolded. Now let's see, it goes all the way to of the day. Harmonia Sans. Another thing I might change here is the line height, so I can fiddle around with this wherever it might be. Line spacing. See. Special, no. Probably looks ridiculous. Oh, it does. This is the one thing I'm terrible at is storyline, is the line spacing stuff. I could swear that there was like a way to do it yourself. Ugh. This is what always happens to me. I'm like, I don't remember, and then I have to remind myself. And then I'm sure people are watching and they're like, I know exactly what to do. Like, why aren't you doing it? Oh, okay. I swear that's not it. It's something I can always come back to later. So let's at least look at this. Create your chat profile and help out your first customer. Okay. Create your chat profile. I don't know if the bold will work on this, but we will see. And then customer. And then maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. And this a little bit bigger. And then we have room for the button right here. Although maybe this could be smaller. This is 36. But I'll try to have equal space between everything. So then the next piece is going to be the button, and it's very rounded. And so if you come into Storyline, they have pre-made buttons, but I am not a fan of these buttons because they're not actually fully rounded. There's like a little edge on them. So I just make my own buttons out of shapes. So I'm going to create my own button here. I do it with this. Yes. And pull all the way in. Okay, and then I think, did it say begin or something? Yeah, begin. And then this is also Harmonia Sans. That one's semi-bold. Right, begin. I've got a lot of these colors already saved here, so that's kind of nice, but I probably won't use them. And then I like to make sure there's an exact space between everything, so I'll go ahead and do that. I need to get semi-bold because I did not use semi-bold there. And I need to grab this color, which I did not know what it is. So I'm going to grab it from there. It's looking very similar so far. The other thing that I'll probably do after this is finished is add animation as well. I think that's going to be an important piece of this whole project, to be able to draw people's eyes into the specific pieces that you really want to draw their eyes into. Another thing about this screen here is I'm going to probably make this button have different states. So on hover it looks a little different, and on press down it looks a little bit different, so that indicates that it's something to be pressing on. So what I'll go ahead and do now is I want to work on the accessibility for this, so let's go to tab order and check this out. So tab order, first you're going to go onto this logo here, then Traveler's Chat Simulation, then you're about to log into this, and then the button. So just say begin button, and then we'll see how these sound on the screen reader later then. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and format this background. We'll do 100% transparency, and I'm going to publish this so we can see what it looks like. Great, this looks pretty good to me. It looks very similar to this. So you can see just slightly different. The font size is a little bit bigger, so I may change that middle font there. Actually like this button a lot more than the other button. And then what I'll probably do is just try to fix the line height here, because this line height's a lot nicer than this one. It's harder to read when things are squished together in a paragraph there. It doesn't really let your eyes rest. And then I'll probably bring this out a little bit further. So we've made some good progress on this. Maybe I'll also bring this whole thing down a little bit, because it looks just like there's so much more space in here. It's a lot less. So we're making really good progress on this. Another thing, just to test the tab order, you press your tab key here and it will tab through everything, so you can see the order that it will go in with the screen reader. So that's another good thing to test out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get set up for the next video, and I'll be back then.